Okay, excuse the bad audio. I'm recording off my Bluetooth headset because that's all I have right now at the moment. Anyway, this video is going to be a little different from the past ones that I've done when it comes to amateur radio and simulcast. This is due with something I've been doing in my professional life for the past several years. Um, and it's a little tool that I've created, a web interface tool, to make my job a little easier. So I've been doing a good deal in bidirectional amplifier systems and distributed antenna systems in the public safety market, doing a lot of design work and commissioning work. Do a fair bit of it, but not enough for the company I work for to afford IB Wave. Well, not so much afford, but lay out the considerable amount of money for IB Wave. And I've been doing things pretty much pencil and paper, and I decided to come up with something that was a little bit more helpful. So I kind of cooked up this little HTML tool to help me build the system, visualize it, if you will, and just make things easier and faster for me. I haven't seen anything out there like this, so I did look, and there was nothing that I really wanted to use, so I kind of built my own. So anyway, this is it. This is kind of what it defaults to, and you get a visual display of the antennas and the branches here. As you can see, these little orange triangles are antennas. And then LPRV, PREV stands for length previous. So that's the length to that tap from the source. So let's go down the left here, the global inputs. You got redraw and recalculate all runs, which you have to do pretty much every time you do something. Then we have source power for two different frequencies, two different bands, because I've dealt only really with two main bands. I know other systems have much more. So, but you have the two F1 and F2 power in dBm, and then the frequencies, which I have 450 and 800 here. Then there's this free space loss. So this is going to give you a measurement of what you would read on a unity gain antenna on a radio at that distance. So at 5 feet with these tap values, with these antenna values, you would see a negative 38 on your radios, theoretically. So, and you can choose 5 or 10 or up to 30. So, and then you've got cable loss per foot for your frequencies because they're going to be different if you have different bands. This tap branch loss is kind of an arbitrary number. Most of the time, from the tap to your antenna, most of the time you're dealing with relatively congruent jumper lengths. So this kind of just allows you to kind of stick that in there to apply it to all of them. And then you've got your antenna gains for F1 and F2, because even if you're using the same antenna, you've got two different bands, your gains for each band can be different on that antenna. And then you get your frequency display mode. So you can choose to display frequency number 1, frequency number 2, or both. We will choose both. And there you go. And this is our hybrid coupler option. So hybrid coupler is a device that allows you to combine, two or more bands onto the same antenna system. So for what I'm using, most commonly, it's either this one, the CA-93, or the CA-14. So I put in the parameters for those. So let's say I want to use a CA-93. I hit apply coupler option. That will give me now two main runs. So, but for now, trying to make this relatively quick, we'll keep it down to 1 run. And then I have my tap ratio legend, which gives you, it's just informational. And then you have your donor BDA chain for frequency 1, frequency 2. This is all downlink, by the way. I'm not doing any uplink. So, but this, you can put in your gains and losses and apply those to give you, it will autofill the power here. These are basically just calculators for convenience. And now we have the main run. So in our main one, we have 8 antennas in this main run. That's what it defaults to. Let's take it down to like 5. So if we hit apply main antenna count, you will see our antenna count will decrease, but it still looks the same here. So you have to hit recalculate and redraw, and it will size appropriately. And the power bars here show you the power going to the antenna. It gives you a visual representation. The whole reason for these power bars are so that you can look over all the antennas at a glance and try to equalize the power out to the antennas. Because that's ideally what you want. You want your the power to each one of your antennas to be relatively equal. So with that, we have 5 antennas. And you'll notice on the 5th antenna, it'll automatically set this drop down to main. And it sets it to a ridiculous tap ratio of 10,000 to 1. Whole reason for that is because this antenna at the end doesn't actually have a tap. It's coming off the main feed off of this tap instead of a tap port. So in order to make the calculation come out right, we do a ridiculous ratio on this so that it calculates the right power output to the antenna. So it's also why it's grayed out. So you'll notice here in our antennas in the main run, you have your stage or antenna, and then your ratio. And the ratio could be, anything within reason, really. So, like maybe 4 to 1, 6 to 1, anything you want up here. And then the feed type, tap means you're feeding an antenna. Main means it's something at the end. So if I do main, it'll change that. None kind of does the same thing as main, except allows you to edit this. Don't really see a use for it now, but it's there. Then there's branch, which if you change that to branch, and change the tap ratio to something else. You change that to branch, and you hit recalculate, you see the antenna disappears. And that assumes that there's going to be a branch run coming off that. So change back to tap, the antenna comes back. So, and then there's your cable length. So this is length previous this tap. So this means that this tap, number 1, that is a cable length from, according to this context, from the BDA to this tap. And then you do that with all the other taps. So that you can get your losses correct and your powers correct for the length of cable that you're using. So along with that, you can name these runs. Like, you can make them anything, room 1, well, spell that correctly. Hallway 2, anywhere 3, and then you can hit apply, well, hit recalculate, redraw, and you'll have names for your antennas. So the other thing that you can do is a branch, because oftentimes your main run is your riser run, and you'll have a branch. So if I hit number of branch runs 1, apply branch count, I will have a branch. And then if I go up here, notice that this hasn't changed, but if I do recalculate, redraw, I get a branch run. And now that branch is being fed off a tap. So this branch is being fed off of tap 1, which has split my branches. Using a 2-to-1 tap, it split my branches into 2, which, as you can see on the power bar graph, there's these 2 antennas, which they retain their arbitrary name that I gave them. This doesn't show up because it's a branch now. And then the other antennas that are here. And now we have the branch, main branch 1, antenna 1, main branch 1, antenna 2, and so on. And you can see, we've got these antennas and what their output power is. So that gives us a nice visual. There's a feature that kind of works, sort of. I'm kind of poking around with it. I'm kind of working on it. That feature is called Auto Tap, and it tries to get all the antennas within plus or minus 3 dB of each other. It doesn't work all the time. So, especially when it gets real big. When you zoom out, and if you watch the power bars here and I hit Auto Tap, yeah, like I said, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I bet you if I get rid of the branch run, it'll work. So let's do that. That. And then calculate redraw. Oh, that's because it's already kind of there. Let's do that. Yeah, it kind of moved a little bit. I had clicked it before. That's why I wasn't doing anything. I mean, if I make this really off, it should be more obvious. Huh. How do I make this way off? Apparently not. So, if I do like 200, 150, 350. There we go. It tries. You can see it tries to do it. It's not the greatest. I'm still working on it, so don't worry about that. But you can reset this whole thing. I just gotta do a refresh, and it pretty much resets it back to where it was. So there we go. So the other thing we will see is the hybrid coupler. So put that in there. There's my hybrid coupler. Now I have 2 main runs. And with each main run, I can add a branch here. And in the main, I can add a branch there. And then if I hit recalculate, redraw, you notice I will have 2 branches. And now that I have 2 main runs, I now have 2 power bar graphs. Those 2 power bar graphs, are, in my opinion, nice to see. I can visualize everything that way. So now that we have those, like if we were, say, this was a real system, we would want this tap to most likely, it's really going to depend on how many antennas you have, how long the cable lengths are, but like for this, it would either be a 2-to-1 or a 4-to-1. Probably a 4-to-1 because there's double the antennas here. So we do a 4-to-1 on that tap on main 1 and a 4-to-1 on that tap on main 2. And we do recalculate, redraw. It kind of equalizes out the power a bit more because we're distributing it a bit more evenly now. That's the whole point. That was the whole point of these power bars I put in here, so that you could actually visualize and see the power distribution. Instead of just looking at numbers, you actually had something that you could see with your eyes much, much easier. So, and also with the hybrid coupler, I also have it to where it shows what I'm feeding where. So that's the output. So F1 I've got minus 1.2 dBm, and F2 I've got 6.8 dBm coming out. So, and then the other thing that we can do is sub branches. So we've got a branch off of main 1, and we can apply a sub branch off of that. Not going to see it until I do recalculate, redraw, but there it is. So it's coming off of that tap. So off of the first tap on branch 1, we probably would want that tap to be another 4 to 1 to distribute the power more evenly. So we do that, and we can see our sub branches. And you've got, your main, main 1, branch 1, antenna 2, main 1, branch 1, antenna 3, and then 4. And then we got main 1, branch 1, sub branch 1, antenna 1. That's kind of how the nomenclature here works. Probably because I put it together is why I understand it, but I know it might be a little nuts. But you can add sub branches to a branch. The way I have it set up right now, I think it's 32 sub branches off of a main line, and then 32, I'm sorry, let me go back. 32 branches off of a main line, and 32 sub branches off of a branch. So, and you can name all of these, like these branches. Give it a custom name of hallway 2B, and then make this hallway 2A, and the sub branch, hallway 2A1, and then for the recalculate redraw will give us our names for these. You can also name the antennas as well, as you can see in the custom name field. So, and then with that, you also have what I will call the text report. So this button will spit out a report that gives you a text report showing this data. So if I click on that, I got that DAS report, and that will come up right here. And here's our information for our main runs, the branches and the sub branches, and our main 2 run in the other branch. So it'll also have our custom names as well. So hallway 2A, hallway 2A1, so on. So yeah, that's super handy. You can also save the configs. If I hit save config, it will show this config here, and you can load a config, and it'll ask you to load the config. So, and it'll load it up. That way you don't have to rebuild this stuff. But excellent tool for me. It's got a few quirks, a few little bugs. I've been working on this for a few months, but and I'm constantly improving it. I'm not the greatest coder in the world. I'm not ashamed to admit that there has definitely been some AI involvement in order to get some of the things right or work through some problems that I did not have the skill to solve, because that's not what I do. But I'm sure others out there who see this, who are more adept at coding than I am, would be able to do a much better job. But I quite like the fact that it's pretty functional. So I don't know if any others who know my channel here are doing this kind of work. I would think there's at least some, but Once I get this to a point where I think it's good enough, I have a domain already purchased. I'm going to host it so that people can use it, give me feedback on it, so that I can try to improve it further. If anybody would like to play with this or whatever version at the time I happen to be working on, just let me know and I'll send you a copy. It's just an HTML file, and I'm trying to keep it that way. I'm trying to keep it from being something that needs, a back end like like a database. Um, but you can only do so much. But so far, it's been what it's doing right now is working at least for me. So anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think. See ya.